Catherine of Aragon, Infanta of Spain, daughter of Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand II of Aragon, the last child of her parents' marriage but not the least favorite. We all know about Catherine's marriage to both Tudor men, but most of us don't know about Catherine's life in general, unique facts that everyone's ignoring. So today we will talk about Queen Catherine of Aragon and how she wasn't just a wife or mother, but a true warrior and religious woman. But before we start, I'll ask you to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in these kinds of topics. Fact number 1. Most people who watch the show The Tudors assume that Catherine of Aragon was considered not beautiful in her time, but in reality, the queen was literally the most beautiful wife of Henry's, as said by many contemporaries of that time. When Catherine first arrived in England in 1501 to marry Prince Arthur, Thomas More, who met her as a young man at court, reportedly wrote that she was the most beautiful creature in the world, and that her character was as admirable as her appearance. Fact number 2. She held a legitimate claim to the English crown through the Lancastrian line. According to one source, through Blanche of Lancaster and John of Gaunt, she was a genuine Lancastrian, and thus had a familiar claim independent of her marriage. Many people even say that she had a better claim to the throne than her husband's or her father-in-law, because they were related to the crown only through Margaret Beaufort, mother of Henry VII. In the 16th century, it was controversial because women's claims at the time were less significant than men's. Another fact is that Catherine had been born in Spain, but after she came to England, she started to act like she'd always been part of the Tudor family. She picked up English manners fast, how to talk at court, how to dress, how to move and act around the king and nobles. People noticed how respectful and calm she was, and how she carried herself with quiet confidence. She joined English traditions and holidays, went to church the same way as the royal family did, and followed court life like she'd grown up with it. Over time, she stopped feeling like a guest and more like she truly belonged there. Fact number 4. The queen's name is spelled variably, and she never accepted any title but queen. Catherine, the spelling we see perhaps signals her Spanish origin, Catalina, while many use Catherine of Aragon. She herself spelled it as Catherine. In a 1513 letter to Henry VIII, while she was serving as regent during his war in France, she signed it as Catherine the Queen. In later letters, even after Henry tried to annul their marriage, she still signed proudly Catherine the Queen, refusing to accept any lesser title. Courtiers, servants, and officials also called her Queen Catherine. Another fact is that Catherine of Aragon believed women should be educated, not just taught to be obedient. She asked the Spanish scholar Juan Luis Vives to write the education of a Christian woman, which he dedicated to her daughter, Princess Mary. Catherine's role in this was more than just being a patron. She was actively involved. She gave Vives ideas for what she wanted the book to say, and her own example as a learned, devout woman helped inspire it. She had grown up in Spain surrounded by scholars and had a strong education herself. The book said that women should learn to read, think, and understand religion for themselves. Catherine's support for this idea showed how educated and forward-thinking she was. She wanted Mary to grow up wise, moral, and strong, proof that a woman could be both intelligent and deeply faithful. Fact number 6. Catherine of Aragon acted as regent of England while Henry VIII was at war, and many know that during this time the Scots invaded northern England. Many have heard from the show The Spanish Princess that Queen Catherine rode out pregnant into battle, but that's not true. Catherine stayed mostly in the Midlands, probably around Buckingham or Woburn Abbey. She couldn't risk her unborn child, and from there she managed the kingdom's defense. Even so, she worked closely with Henry's advisors, especially Thomas Lovell, ordering the raising of troops and making sure supplies and payments were organized. In the end, under the Queen's command, England won the Battle of Flodden, and Catherine received the nickname warrior queen. Another fact is that after Henry fell in love with Anne Boleyn and started the annulment of his marriage with Catherine, she lived quietly but with dignity, surrounded by a few loyal friends. She never publicly cursed or insulted Anne, even though she suffered because of her. Many people admired her calm strength and saw her as the rightful queen. The queen never said Anne's name in public. She simply referred to her as the woman or my husband's mistress. In private letters and statements, Catherine was respectful but firm, saying she would not give up her crown for a concubine. Anne, on the other hand, often showed anger or impatience toward Catherine. Some reports from ambassadors say Anne complained that Catherine was stubborn and called her old or Spanish. Fact number 8. Catherine of Aragon had many ladies-in-waiting, noble women who helped her dress, attend her in church, and kept her company. She treated them kindly and often gave them gifts like fine clothes or jewelry. Her closest friend was Maria de Salinas, a Spanish lady who came with her from Spain. Maria stayed loyal to Catherine all her life. Moreover, she had good relationship with Anne Boleyn, who was a rival to Queen. Even when Catherine was sick and kept away from court after Henry left her, Maria found a way to visit her, risking punishment. Also, the mother of Catherine Parr, Lady Maud Parr, was close to the Queen. Catherine of Aragon thought highly of Maud. In fact, their friendship was so strong that when Maud's daughter was born in 1512, she named her Catherine after the Queen, a great honor. That baby later became Queen Catherine Parr, Henry VIII's last wife. The most famous lady-in-waiting was Catalina de Cardones, or as we know her from the Spanish princess, Lina. Catalina de Cardones was one of the Spanish women who came to England with Catherine of Aragon. In 1509, when Catherine finally married Henry VIII and became Queen of England, Catalina de Cardones continued to serve her. A further fact is that Catherine was buried as a dowager princess of Wales, not as a queen, because Henry had annulled their marriage and refused to acknowledge her as a queen. Over the centuries, Catherine's tomb fell into relative neglect. One source notes that monument was an insignificant and mean erection. In the 19th century, there was a campaign to restore her tomb. A notable figure was Catherine Clayton, wife of a cathedral canon, who appealed to women named Catherine to contribute. This resulted in an engraved marble slab and a grille with gold lettering, Catherine, Queen of England. One of the most striking restorations came in the 20th century. The then Queen Mary, consort of George V, ordered that the banners of queenship, the arms of England and Spain, be hung above Catherine's tomb to restore her proper title, Queen of England. You can ask why Queen Mary first, her daughter, didn't pay attention to it, but the problem was that at the time England had no money, so Mary simply couldn't fix it. So in the end, we understand that Queen Catherine of Aragon wasn't just another wife of Henry VIII. She was an intelligent, religious, warrior, beautiful, and a pure-hearted queen who deserved a better fate and life than the one she lived in. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'd like you to share your opinion about Queen Catherine and which historical figure should I do next. Anyway, see you later, guys. Bye.